So you were one of the people that helped sort of
Yeah.
broker the deal with RFK
Right.
and Trump and bring the two of those together. Tell me how that got started. Tell me how that worked out.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to another special video. Today we'll watch Joe Rogan finally admitting why America needs Donald Trump as the next 47th president of the country. Let's jump straight into the video and watch. And also, I'll be giving my comments along the way. Let's get to it.
So you were one of the people that helped sort of
Yeah.
broker the deal with RFK
Right.
and Trump and bring the two of those together. Tell me how that got started. Tell me how that worked out.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about that story, I literally think about 2021, our mom abruptly dying of pancreatic cancer. She was taking a hike, got a pain in her stomach, got a text the next day after getting a scan saying she has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. We rushed to her side. She died 12 days later, just totally surprisingly. And Casey and I, on her gravesite, literally hugged each other and said, we want to write a book and we want to make this and evangelize this, inspired by you and others. We want to evangelize this and add the chorus to prevent what's happening, because so many Americans are on this pharmaceutical treadmill, and then the cancer's random. It's not random. Like all these warning signs that were missed with my mom, her prediabetes, her high cholesterol, her high blood pressure, those were pilled, not seen as gifts to get to the root cause. And then she was chopped down by cancer. This is happening to everyone. So we want to evangelize that. And we've been on the path as best we can with companies and evangelizing. And through these amazing podcasts like Tucker, we got connected with people. So got to know RFK, got to know Democrats, and got to know the Trump campaign. And in the past year, I will say this, the Trump campaign has been extremely interested in the policy of why kids are getting so sick. And if you go back a year ago, President Trump actually at rallies to loud applause has been talking very similar points to RFK. So we got to know RFK. Sitting watching the first assassination attempt, I had like a spiritual, what I can call a kind of out-of-body experience. And I felt the need to call Robert. I think what he has done is historic. The fact that he was getting up to 20% of the vote, highlighting this issue, tapping in, I think, to this consciousnness and tapping into this stream that you're tapping into, I think it really showed something. And I had this vision for a year. Actually, it sounds very woo-woo, but I was in a sweat tent with him in Austin at a campaign event 6 months before, and I just had this strong vision of him standing with Trump, and how what RFK represents is actually what Trump represents, and actually what almost every American's feeling, which is this frustration and this rigged thing and this thing that doesn't quite feel right, that you can't quite put your finger on. And it was so clear to me that how RFK talks about health personifies this overall kind of institutional capture. It makes it real for people in a really visceral way, because it's clearly impacting their kids. So,
God bless Trump, Vance, Musk, Tulsi, RFK Jr., and Vivek. And God also bless and protect America. We need experienced leaders and all the help that we can get. You know, while I can understand that Joe Rogan held back his opinions, since he understands he has a very influenced platform and it's super important for him, to keep it cool, Finally, I am so glad that he's now speaking up, you see?
that was all the context. Picked up the phone, called him, and just urged him, as a supporter, as a lowly supporter, to consider maybe this is the time, as President Trump put his fist up, with all this momentum. There's rare moments in history where the deck can change. And I really felt, and he felt, like this could be a realignment of American politics, because that moment felt very heavy after the assassination. So we went back and forth, and he asked to, he's like, let me talk to him. So I worked with Tucker, and we connected them that night. And here's the key point I want to make from my small vantage point here. They had weeks of conversations, and there was not a discussion of polling. There was not a discussion of the horse race and how this would impact the race. These were tear-filled conversations about why kids are getting so diabetic, about why we have such obese children in the United States, about why we have a fertility crisis. Like, this was a true connection of these two men, and a true deep bond, which I think you're seeing out there on the campaign trail, that this transcends politics, and Trump wants this to be a generational issue for him. And I just want to say something. I think we're at a big moment here. We're debating trivia. I think the two most existential issues are nuclear war or what's happening to our health. And whatever you think, and I used to be a never Trumper, watching him care about this issue, watching what's happening with the RFK, watching what's happening of how that's resonating with voters, seeing smally, from my small vantage point inside, there is tremendous connection of these two men and moral clarity of seeing what's happening. And my question is this, and to anyone kind of considering voting in this election, Trump is going to say stupid shit. He is Trump. We know who he is. There's two important questions to ask. Who sees this corruption and institutional capture that's going to destroy our country, I think, to an existential level? And who is willing to suffer that blowback?
We either vote for policy or personality. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't vote for something, you will fall for anything. Joe Rogan has shown a lot of fearlessness in speaking the truth to power. He used to fall short, when it came to fully endorsing President Trump. But now it's obvious that he prefers Trump to Kamala Harris. You see? Without President Trump, America will surely go down the drain. A lot of people, at least, they are waking up, finally. Thank God for that. You see?
Who is willing to go up against these military-industrial complex, the healthcare-industrial complex, the education-industrial complex that's making us a non-competitive? They are ready. Who is going to appoint? This is a question I have. Who do we believe is going to appoint people like RFK, people like Elon Musk, to stir stuff up? Who is going to do that? That to me is the foundational question. And I do consider this the most important election of my lifetime, watching these two men, because it is so genuine. And there is a genuine desire to truly transform, to see our broken corruption and institutions for what it is. And really, truly, I think prevent nuclear war and dramatically reverse our health crisis. Trump has said that his one big mistake last time was personnel, was that the pharma and the ag slithered in and gave him the list of names. Everybody should ask, do you think RFK is going to have an influence on those names based on what Trump has said? And I think he is. And I think people like Elon are going to be involved. I think there's this coalition of people that are coming together and Trump's going to put in power and listen to. And this is a bipartisan issue. And no matter what happens, we have to solve this issue. But I will say this so clearly with the most conviction I can. We will be on the verge, I think, of a health population collapse, societally destabilizing event, unless true executive leadership sees this corruption and this issue for what it is and says we need a radical transformation in how we see agriculture and how we see health, our two largest industries. I think we have to have that. And every single member of Congress I meet with, including Democrats, say that in order for this issue to get done, we need a president to make this the priority to talk, because that gives us air cover, and there could be transformational change if a president does that. So that's what I've seen from being in this. And I can tell you, President Trump has kept every promise to RFK and deeply cares about this issue.
It also seems like if this isn't done now, they will take steps to make sure it can never be done in the future.
Look what they're saying. Yeah. Look what they're saying about free speech.
Yeah, this is it's such a unique time, and it seems like without a person that's a total outsider like Trump, that's being so attacked. The fact that it's not just that they disagree with him, they attack him, it's that they do it in unison, they do it so coordinated that you realize there is a machine behind this, and that they repeat the same talking points over and it's like they're given a script, and that there's no repercussions for lies. There's, with the Russiagate stuff, with all the various different things that have been concocted to try to take him out, there's no one gets in trouble, and the same people are still disseminating the news. And more people, I think, are aware of that than ever before, and more people aware of this institutional capture.
I remember Donald Trump, the New York billionaire, real estate developer, celebrity, from the 1980s into the 1990s, everybody loved him. You see, he was on Oprah, he was on The Veil, and he had a hit on television, a hit television show. You see, he even did cameos on movies such as Home Alone 2 and Will Smith's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, And he was even a donor to various political figures. But then, when he ran as a Republican, they all turned on him. Can you imagine? Ladies and gentlemen, remember, we had peace under President Trump's administration. There was peace in the Middle East for the first time ever. Can you imagine? Do you remember that? Come on. Come on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is clear. The world needs President Trump back in the White House. You see? The world needs to unite over all the evil overlords that feed off the suffering of the people. Ladies and gentlemen, may God bless President Donald Trump, and may God bless America.